For today's cup of coffee, I have an article that came out on Friday, November the 3rd, 2023 by Matthew Phelan from Daily Mail. And a lot of times, if mainstream media or whatever, if you want to consider Daily Mail mainstream media, I guess it is, if they want it buried, they'll do it on Friday. This one was no exception. So that's why I waited until for this to come out on a Monday. And the Pentagon's UFO chief will resign by this year's end amid a wave of complaints accusing him of making false statements about UFO whistleblowers and fostering an atmosphere of disinterest, DailyMail.com understands. Quote, 4 major candidates, end quote, have been interviewed to replace the current director of the Pentagon's UFO office, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, following months of heated public sparring between former CIA physicists, UFO whistleblowers, and activists. The Pentagon appears to have already made the decision on Kirkpatrick's unnamed successor, according to one former Pentagon official with past involvement in related UFO investigation programs who spoke with the DailyMail.com. The ex-official said, quote, given their public affairs track record, they may not put out anything to the press until well after the change, but who knows, they might surprise us, end quote. Spoken like a true government somebody, they tell you nothing. Recently, Grush publicly accused Kirkpatrick of lying about his office's efforts to investigate these claims, which had been laid out by Grush in July of 2023 under oath before Congress. Previously, Kirkpatrick had described Grush's same testimony made before the House Oversight Committee as insulting to the officers of the Department of Defense and intelligence community. But fellow UFO whistleblowers working with Grush said past and present DoD and intelligence community officers themselves reportedly don't trust and never did trust Sean, according to an attorney aiding their efforts. While the precise reasons for his alleged departure remain murky, Dr. Kirkpatrick has faced vehement public criticism in recent weeks from UFO enthusiasts and so-called disclosure advocates seeking government transparency on UFOs and aliens. A citizen's petition calling for Dr. Kirkpatrick's immediate removal, hosted by Change.org, has garnered 1,739 signatures since its posting on October the 22nd, 2023. The petition's author, Lisa Fine, accused Kirkpatrick of operating a secret committee which directs the Department of Defense's All-Dominion Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO's, actions and public statements. According to Fine, referencing the updated terminology for unidentified flying objects, Dr. Kirkpatrick has repeatedly lied to the American people about a lack of evidence concerning UFOs/UAPs, end quote. In recent years, Pentagon brass, NASA experts, and others have taken to calling what were once known as flying saucers unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAP. The petition's allegation that Dr. Kirkpatrick had assembled a secret advisory panel to run AARO, while still unproven, first emerged the same day via reporting by Matt Ford, host of the Good Trouble Show YouTube channel, who had cited an anonymous source. But the other recent accusations that Kirkpatrick has lied to the American people have come much more directly. This Halloween, AARO hosted a conference call Q&A session between reporters and Dr. Kirkpatrick, in which the physicist fielded multiple questions about David Grush and his allegations of a covert UFO crash retrieval and reverse engineering program. On the call, Kirkpatrick told assembled media that he had interviewed a whole range of people, over 30 people now, in relation to the allegedly secret and illegal activity. Kirkpatrick stated, quote, I think we've interviewed most of the people that he, Grush, may have talked to, end quote, in reference to the investigative work that Grush reportedly performed while assisting AARO's predecessor, the Pentagon's UAP Task Force. Kirkpatrick told journalists on the call, quote, Quote, "We have extended an invitation at least 4 or 5 times now for him, Grush, to come in over the last 8 months or so, and have been declined," end quote. But Grush quickly accused Kirkpatrick of inventing these outreach efforts and by his AARO team in their entirety. Grush told reporters for News Nation the following day, quote, "I have 0 emails or calls from them. That is a lie," end quote. Similarly, one retired U.S. Air Force Captain David Schindel, a former Minuteman ICBM launch control officer who reported his UFO encounter to AARO, said he felt that its personnel projected an atmosphere of disinterest. Schindel told viewers of Matt Ford's Good Trouble that Kirkpatrick and his AARO team were, quote, "not people I want to talk to again," end quote. The Mail's former intelligence official, who has intimate knowledge of the military's ever-evolving UFO/UAP investigation portfolio, cautioned against drawing a direct line between these controversies and any plans for Kirkpatrick's departure, however. This former intelligence official told the DailyMail.com, under the condition of anonymity, quote, "Sean has directly told folks he is leaving by the end of the year. I think it's completely a planned departure. He probably gave them a timeline when he took the job. I am sure he's ready to go. I wouldn't read into it any more than that, honestly," end quote. And there was a line that said that this former intelligence official thought that it may have to do with Kirkpatrick being away from his family with the current job. The source added that he has heard AARO's first and current director would be moving on to a position with Oak Ridge National Laboratory, which briefly hosted the kernel of an apparent staff bio for Kirkpatrick before it mysteriously disappeared. Veteran Australian TV news broadcaster and investigative reporter Russ Coulthard, who conducted the first televised interview with David Grush, said that this staff bio requires explanation in a series of posts to X, formerly Twitter. Coulthard said, referencing military contractor UT Battelle, which helps run the Oak Ridge Lab on behalf of the Department of Energy, quote, "The AARO boss is presumably also investigating possible at Battelle links with crash retrieval/engineering programs," end quote. Recent reporting by Daily Mail contributor Christopher Sharp and others has alleged that Battelle board member Stephanie O'Sullivan, quote, "has knowledge of a UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program," end quote, only to hide it from Senate investigators. During her past years of government service, O'Sullivan was an associate deputy director of the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, following successes managing parts of the U.S. spy agency's Directorate of Science and Technology. Nevertheless, when reached for comment, Pentagon spokesperson Susan Gaw stated that, whatever his future plans may be, Dr. Kirkpatrick is not currently moonlighting for Battelle or ORNL in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Goff said, quote, "Dr. Kirkpatrick remains the director, AARO. He is not currently employed by Oak Ridge National Laboratory. We have no AARO personnel announcements to make at this time," end quote. Outside official channels, however, news of Kirkpatrick's planned departure have reached Daniel Sheehan, the Harvard-trained lawyer who represented past UFO whistleblower Luis Elizondo in his formal complaint to the DoD's Inspector General. Sheehan told the DailyMail.com, quote, "He's out at the end of the year, and that's a big deal," end quote, adding that he understands 4 major candidates are up for the job opening at the top of AARO. Sheehan, whose history litigating progressive civil rights law cases dates back to the Vietnam War era Pentagon Papers, is now chief counsel, president, and co-founder of the New Paradigm Institute. The Institute, a branch of the 501c3 nonprofit Romero Institute, describes itself as dedicated to public policy advocacy on societal, environmental, and cosmic objectives, which presumably includes UAP transparency. Chris Phelan, a former official of the Secretary of Defense for Intelligence and a passionate advocate for increased government diligence and transparency on the UAP issue, told the DailyMail.com that he too heard of similar developments at AARO. Phelan wrote via email, quote, "As to Sean, I've heard some of the same rumors, but they're just rumors. I really don't know his plans," end quote. Earlier this summer, prior to Grush's sworn congressional testimony, Phelan told News Nation's Chris Cuomo, quote, "I've been told that we have recovered technology that did not originate on this earth by officials in the Department of Defense and by former intelligence officials," end quote. Sources with similar first-hand testimony to give have become even more skittish about delivering what they know to AARO, despite the office's new second phase efforts to faithfully investigate hidden UFO crash retrieval programs. Kirkpatrick told reporters this Halloween, quote, "This phase of the reporting mechanism is for current or former U.S. government employees, service members, or contractors with direct knowledge of alleged U.S. government programs or activities related to UAP dating back to 1945, end quote. But with the future of AARO's leadership in limbo, Shin told the DailyMail.com that many trepidatious UFO whistleblowers have opted to deliver their testimony to the U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence for now instead. Shin said, quote, "What they are doing is they are going straight through to the Senate Intelligence Committee. That's where the queue is forming of people who have real direct, immediate knowledge. And David Grush is in the communication with these people, and our people are in communication with these people. We know that they don't want to go into Sean's AARO group until it's resolved as to who is going to take his place. None of the whistleblowers want to go in there because they don't view it as stable or safe," end quote. The former intelligence official who confirmed word of Dr. Kirkpatrick's departure weighed in with the opinion that the public pushback from David Grush was probably unexpected. Despite a long summer of contradictory timelines detailed by both Grush and Dr. Kirkpatrick, in other words, the official suspects that AARO likely did not expect to have its director called a liar in public. Among other inconsistencies, Grush testified under oath before Congress this July that his last personal interaction with Dr. Kirkpatrick occurred in 2022. Grush told Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna under oath during the hearing, quote, "Him and I had a classified conversation in April of 2022 before he took over AARO in July of 2022, end quote. Grush added that he had provided Dr. Kirkpatrick with some concerns he had related to national security issues relevant to AARO's UAP mandate. But during AARO's Halloween conference call on Tuesday, Kirkpatrick asserted that the two had not spoken in nearly 5 years. Kirkpatrick said, quote, "The last time I believe I spoke with Mr. Grush was when I was in the J2, Directorate for Intelligence for the Joint Chief of Staff, at U.S. Space Command about 5 years ago, and it was not on this topic," end quote. When faced with these and other discrepancies, the ex-intelligence official for the DailyMail.com stated, quote, "I believe Dave," end quote. And within all this, I don't believe any of them. I don't believe anybody in the government as far as I can throw them, past, present, or future. I find it very interesting that Kirkpatrick decided to hold a conference about the UAPs, UFOs, on Halloween. Was that a slam against people who have witnessed these events? I would think that it was. I mean, you know, they didn't wait until Halloween. I think it was him taking it very lightly. I had heard other references to the office not taking it seriously. The only reason they even compiled an office at all was because public push. So those of us that, you know, sometimes we think that our voice isn't being heard, there's more of us than there are of them. So apparently some of these voices do get through. So it's interesting. It's interesting that this, again, was a Friday story. So, yeah, we'll definitely stay tuned to that. If you've had experiences with paranormal, supernatural, encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, you can send me an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com, and the email address will be there in the description box, as will the link, and you can go and, look at the picture of Dr. Kirkpatrick if that floats your boat. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Know that you're loved. And keep your eyes on the skies, folks. Lord willing, we'll see you on the next cup. Bye.